The defense and the prosecution rest their cases in the murder trial for former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. We're on top of the latest developments as the jury begins deliberations. And that is where we begin on this busy Monday afternoon. Thanks for joining us for the news at 5. I'm Jamie Tompkins.
And I'm Matt Lorch. Closing arguments have wrapped up in the trial of Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer facing charges in the death of George Floyd.
Q13's Aliana Gomez is standing by in the newsroom. And Aliana, we know that the judge outlined 4 key things that the jury must do when deliberating on this case.
Yeah, that's right, Jamie. Before sending them off to deliberate, the judge asked that the jurors do 4 things. Take the time they need to reflect thoughtfully about the evidence. He asked them to examine their decisions for bias. He pleaded with them to listen to their fellow jury members but resist the urge to help them decide. And finally, he asked them to resist jumping to conclusions. And that's how the day ended. Here's how it started.
You have now heard the evidence, and soon you'll hear the arguments of counsel.
The day began with the judge reading instructions to members of the jury. Derek Chauvin faces second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and manslaughter. A jury must consider all 3, the prosecution often referencing Floyd yelling he couldn't breathe.
And he said that, and the defendant heard him say that over and over. He heard him, but he just didn't listen. He continued to push him down, to grind into him, to shimmy, to twist his hand for 9 minutes and 29 seconds.
The burden of proof sits on the prosecutors. To win a conviction, they must convince the jury beyond a reasonable doubt that Chauvin intentionally meant to hurt Floyd when he placed his knee on Floyd's neck for more than 9 minutes.
He didn't follow training, those hundreds of hours of training that he had. He did not follow the department's use of force rules. He did not perform CPR. He knew better. He just didn't do better.
After nearly 2 hours, the defense took the floor. Lawyer Eric Nelson reminded the jury they must first consider the defendant innocent and determine if he's proven guilty.
But take the time to carefully read the entire instructions.
Nelson urged the jury to consider what a reasonable police officer would do.
The standard is not what should the officer have done in these circumstances. It's not what could the officer have done differently in these circumstances. The standard is what were the facts that were known to this officer at the precise moment he used force.
Nelson says in this case, Chauvin relied on his training to make decisions, arguing considering Floyd's size and resistance to arrest, he says Chauvin did what any officer would.
Distraction techniques, controlled takedowns, conscious neck restraints. These are options available to Mr. Chauvin at this point. He has, per his training, these techniques at his disposal.
The jury is now sequestered in a hotel. Meantime, thousands of National Guard members and law enforcement officers are in Minneapolis ahead of a verdict. Minnesota's governor is also asking Ohio and Nebraska for additional law enforcement help in advance of a verdict. And cities across the country are also making preparations for potential unrest. Matt, back to you.